Good evening, YouTube. Who's your Piper, aka Mark, coming at you. Saturday evening, about 8:30. Kind of a overcast evening. It's been just a beautiful day here in Northeast Indiana. Maybe 75 degrees. It was actually a little bit chilly this morning, like 57, 55, 57. Really enjoy that kind of a start to a day. Goes good with hot coffee and a pipe. Smoking my Savinelli 320. Some Esoterica Dorchester. Every once in a while I'll feel a drop of rain. Tomorrow we're supposed to get some rain. Had a bunch of stuff that we got done today. I sold all my beekeeping equipment. Sold it to a friend of mine. I've had that equipment for a couple years now, and I sold it for exactly what I paid for it, so I was pretty happy with that. Helped them load all that up earlier today. Did a bunch of yard work, mowed my property. And right before dinner I processed 6 rabbits. Pretty full day. Thought I'd come out and do a quick video. Dorchester is probably one of my top 3, if not my most favorite tobacco that I smoke. I don't smoke it very much, and usually to be in an evening, and usually out of this pipe, I get a pretty long smoke out of it. I really enjoy it. So what would it take for you to sell everything you have except for your home and move halfway around the world? It's a pretty significant question. It would have to be something that you truly believed in. That you're passionate about. So what my family and I did back in 2013. In January of 2013, we began a process of investigating a organization that we would eventually work for, volunteer with, and move half of my family literally halfway around the world from where we live. I was going to tell the story, and I think it would just take too much time, but suffice it to say, I was living a pretty comfortable life. Not necessarily financially, although I was comfortable financially. I wasn't wealthy. But believe it or not, I was a pastor at a church, what we call in that church, they called it an associate pastor. So I was kind of like an assistant. had been for 10 years, since 2013 or 2003. But I got too comfortable, and I really started looking at what I was telling other people, how they should live, and how I believed my faith tells people how to live. And I came to the realization that I was not living that way. Nor was the vast majority of the people in what I would call the church. We talk a lot about loving people, but I had precious little to show for it practically. So I resigned my position without any idea what I was going to do, but I wanted to force myself into a place where whatever I did was intentional and on purpose and impacting other people's lives on a regular basis in practical ways. And through a process of several months, my wife and I became interested in, long before it was very popular, we became interested in helping those who were caught up in the sex trafficking trade. And in February of 2013, my wife and I went on a 2-week trip to Southeast Asia. Spent a week in Cambodia and a week in Thailand. And while we were in Cambodia, we arrived in Phnom Penh, which is the capital city. And we traveled all over. We went to Siem Reap, where Angkor Wat is. We went to Kampong Cham, Keen Svai. Went to a lot of different places. And I saw the effects of a truly impoverished people and the consequences of typically Westerners who would come in and take advantage of that. Take advantage of minors, kids under the age of 18, kids as young as 4 and 5. Sometimes younger. And to put it into vernacular, it pissed me off. So I spent a week in Cambodia, then we went up to the northwest, and I walked across the border. Actually was in a part of land where I was no longer in the kingdom of Cambodia, and I was yet to be in the kingdom of Thailand. And when I arrived in Thailand, my phone was just telling me the battery's about ready to go out. I met with the founder of this organization that we worked with, and he offered me a position. He offered my wife a position with the organization. It would be a volunteer position, meaning that we would have to self-fund it. And he said he needed to know before we went home, he had to fill the position by June. That's when he wanted us back in country in Cambodia. It's a big step. We have 5 children. 2 of my boys were going to be in college, and it would have meant that we would have left them in the States while we went halfway around the world. which is what we ended up doing. And so our decision was obviously yes. And I went to Cambodia, where I joined some teams that were involved with rescuing children who were being trafficked. We just focused on minor children. There was other organizations that focused on people who were over the age of 18. I joined an international coalition of individuals who were passionate about this scourge all across the globe, actually, but especially in the impoverished nations in Southeast Asia. And I started out on the rescue teams and then moved into a management position within the organization to run a project in Phnom Penh, based out of Phnom Penh, that managed 5 different properties and housed over 100 girls, all under the age of 21. The majority, all but 3 of them at the time, were 18 and younger. My wife taught English and helped out with some medical things, pregnancies and things like that. And I fell in love with Southeast Asia. I love the people of Cambodia. Love the country. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. Out of that poverty rises so many different problems. And exploitation is a major issue. And so I think, looking back at it, I think I made the right choice in selling everything we had. We came back a little bit earlier than what we had originally thought. Thankfully, we had not sold our house during that time. We had a place to come back to. But at the age of 46, 47, I'm starting all over. I mean, I'm older than that now, but at that point, we were starting all over again, buying silverware and pots and beds, dressers. Things you should have accumulated over the 20-some years we've been married. And now I investigate child abuse and neglect. Because what rang true to me in the process of preparing for Cambodia still rings true to me, is that I need to love my fellow man so much that I would pour my life practically into other people's lives to help bring people to justice, to help those who cannot help themselves. And to actually put feet to my faith. And my faith has taken a way different turn. I'm not nearly as verbal about it as I used to be. But I'm hoping that people see that I am practically, tangibly touching the lives of people around me. And that's why I left the States and comfort in a very secure position, a job. Because deep down inside, I know that if I don't practically leave my fingerprint on this world, then I would have failed. And that passion still drives me today. Cambodia video number 1. What would it take to make you give up everything to touch of a life of someone else? It's a good question. One I need to keep asking myself. Well, hey, it's getting dark. The mosquitoes haven't really bothered me. I'm just about done with this Dorchester. You guys have a great evening, great rest of your weekend. Till next time, Hoosier Piper.